This is the Cool Kids Film Club Podcast. Watch films with us.
I got to look down on everybody, you see. That made me happy.
Fair enough. Alright, we're going back in. In 3. Get my Wayne's World quote reference.
No?
What? Wayne's World. That's the thing they do on the TV show. Every time they're recording and they have to teach it. In 3. And they keep fucking up.
Yeah, but that's not a Wayne's World thing. Not saying 2 and 1 is...
I know it's not from that only, but I was referencing from that because they do it in that. You remember that time? Also in Wayne's World, they say hello. I quote that all the time.
Yeah. All right.
Welcome to the Cool Kids Film Club Podcast. I am Trevor Webb, and this guy with me today is Gavin Rye. Gavin Rye, say hi.
I'll do. How are you?
How am I? Well, straight to the chase. I'm alright. I mean, I didn't do anything this week.
You must have. You always do something.
Well, I sat on my couch a lot. I drank a lot of water. I like my water. That's it.
Cool.
What did you get up to?
Just been to space. Went up to the moon.
What's it like up there?
Made of cheese. Turns out it's true.
Should we get into Warren's introduction for the film so we can find out what we're talking about?
Yeah.
All right. Warren, to you!
Hello. It's me, Warren. I'm introducing the movie this week because it was my film. I've had to do this take about 100 times because I'm not going to mention any names. Trevor makes me redo this time and time again, and I can't get it right on the second attempt. First attempt was perfect, but not to Trevor's standards. I suppose I need to be a real director to get it right at the start. But never mind, it's Moon. It's a brilliant film. Kind of film you've got to watch properly. Don't be on your phone, texting or talking to your missus or getting blowjobs during it, because you won't like it. You need to watch it properly. Yeah. Enjoy. Goodbye.
So that was Warren Winter with his introduction for the film Moon, which will come up right about now. This film sucked, didn't it?
No, it's brilliant.
This film sucks. End of review. No, I'm making it sound like I hated it. I didn't hate it. It was fine. It wasn't fine. It was shit. But I didn't hate it. It wasn't shit. It was all right. But less than all right. Better than shit, less than all right. Somewhere there. Do you want to tell us about the film?
So, Moon, 2009, directed by Duncan Jones. And, he's a director who's made a few films. A lot of sci-fi, actually, isn't it? Moon, Source Code, Mute, and Warcraft.
I liked Source Code, I think.
Yep, Source Code's good. I liked Mute, even though most didn't.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, it's about Sam, who is working on the moon. They've got this new kind of energy source that is in the rocks on the moon, and he's up there making sure it all goes smoothly. And he's got 3 weeks left on his 3-year stint up there, and then he's coming back home. Or is he? Starring Sam Rockwell as Sam, and Kevin Spacey as Gertie, and some other people in smaller roles.
Was this pre or post Kevin Spacey stuff?
Well, pre it coming out.
Yeah.
I actually thought, I was like, oh, here's on Kevin Spacey. At least he hasn't got any hands to fondle people with. And all of a sudden he's got a hand, doesn't he? That's virtually all he's got, a face and a hand.
I don't think it's the character of Gertie that would be doing inappropriate things. It's him. So, I mean, he would have still had to be in a studio with a load of folk.
Yeah, and he wasn't, was he? Because he came in very late. They'd virtually edited the film, and apparently only took him half a day to do his lines.
It explains a lot. If it only took him half a day, it could explain why it's all so drab and shit. One of the smaller roles you mentioned, Dominique McKelly got. I've butchered that word, but she plays the wife, Tess. Did you recognise her from anything?
Yeah, she's in The Guard. Brilliant film by one of the brothers who have also got a name, I can't remember.
McDonough or Madonna?
Muck.
Fair enough. Well, she might be in that, but that's not what I was referencing. I noticed she was Queen Maeve from The Boys, which is possibly the best TV show being made at this point in time. Would you say?
It's hard to say. I haven't watched all of them.
Have you not?
As in all of the TV shows being made at this moment.
Oh, I see. But is it like is it your favourite or one of your favourites of ones that you watch?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, right up my street. And there's not a lot of other people in it, as you say. There's a few smaller roles. That guy whose name I was going to write down, but then I didn't.
Benedict Wong is in it.
That's the one, yes. So, I mean, before we go into anything else about the film, because so far we've not discussed spoilers, but we will do soon. So...
Oi, you! Do not watch this podcast if you have not already seen the film. It's a spoiler review. It contains spoilers. It's simple, really. If you want to come back on its yours, that's up to you. But don't watch this podcast until you've seen the film. Alright. Cool. Cheers, mate.
So you've basically given the spoiler-free synopsis. The spoilery synopsis is basically there's a load of clones on the moon, isn't there? And they're doing work. And that's it. Really, that's the whole film.
If you say so.
Is there anything else to it?
What, you just want the whole plot?
Anything you liked? Go through chronological order. Go.
All right then, so yeah, we're starting with Sam. He's nearing the end of his stint on the moon. He's looking forward to going home. He says he's starting to feel it a bit now, starting to talk to himself. 3 years is too long. And he gets into an accident when he's out doing some harvesting, or sorting out the harvester. I guess the harvesting is done automatically. And yeah, he knocks his head.
What was he doing out there? It wasn't very clear. I knew he was doing chores of some kind, but I don't know what he was actually doing.
I believe the harvesters all harvest themselves, but they need emptying, and they take the helium-free back to be transported back to Earth.
So he has that accident, as you say. Does he go? What happens to him?
Well, he's out, knocked out, presumed dead by Gertie. So Gertie, although we as the viewer don't know this, basically he wakes up in the infirmary and he's given a few days rest, and then he'll be back to work. But it's now where this Sam goes out and finds the other Sam who isn't dead, and he's brought back to health, or somewhat health, and therein lies the twist that we have got clones on this spaceship.
You'd seen the film before, I'm guessing, but do you remember when you first watched it? Did you have any inkling as to what was going on?
I have no memory. I mean, I saw it when it came out, 2009. That's far too long for me to remember.
Fair enough. Obviously, I didn't know he's a clone, but it's a twist. Sure. I mean, they're clones. But as soon as he finds the body and it's clearly himself, that's kind of the twist there, isn't it? Oh, there's another one of me. Yes, he finds out that he's a clone, but I mean, is that like this big twist?
Well, now it's a plot point. I don't know. You're acting like every film needs a twist.
I feel sci-fi films in particular often need a twist more than other genres.
Why?
Because they're supposed to be clever, aren't they? Sci-fi is all science fiction. Science, it's got to be clever, and it's got to make you think. I didn't feel this really...
What's the twist and the making you think in Star Wars? Yeah, it doesn't come about until the third one.
Still, it's more of a twist than anything that happens in this.
I don't know why you need a twist. I'm confused by this.
I feel Star Wars is a fantasy adventure sci-fi, and it doesn't need twists so much as it depends on the characters and the stories and their fight. You don't need a big twist in that. But something like this, which is supposed to be clever, you've got one character in one location. It's a sci-fi film set on the moon. You need it to engage the audience and to make you think through the runtime. And it didn't do that.
Did for me. I was very engaged, and it did make me think about quite a few things. Like, it's dealing with corporate greed. It's also dealing with kind of the idea of, even though Sam is a clone, there are differences between his two characters. You know, kind of, I suppose you could take that into like the nature versus nurture argument.
Okay, to tackle your points chronologically, corporate greed. Everyone knows there's corporate greed. Everyone knows big organizations are dicks. There's nothing to think about here. It just says big corporations are dicks. Okay. It doesn't require any thought. There's no twist. There's no clever way of pointing that out. It tells you, and then you accept it, and then you move on.
Well, it's a clever way of doing that. I mean, yeah, sure, the corporates are shit isn't something to think about, but they're putting it across in a different way here. It's not like slave labor. I mean, arguably, you could say it's even cheaper for them because they never have to pay this guy at all. They never have to do anything.
They're paying the original Sam back on Earth. Spoilers for later, but when Sam 2, I think it is, does the video link to his daughter, and she calls, "Daddy, there's someone asking about Mummy." The person who responds there is the original Sam.
Yeah, I assume
at least I've read online. Well, no, in the subtitles, it comes up, which I didn't watch it as subtitles, but I've read this. The subtitles come up as original Sam, and then him talking.
I mean, that doesn't immediately imply that he even knows this is going on. I mean, who knows? He might be just a small time member of this, or employee for this company. Maybe they exploited him just as much as they are the clones.
It's possible. We don't know for sure, but my understanding of that was that he had given some form of consent and he was getting sent money for his thing. I'm getting into pure speculation.
No, what you're doing is thinking, which is what the film is making you do. Nothing to think about, and look at him thinking away.
Oh yeah, this is just as complex as Interstellar, and it's really, really making me think about the complexities of each of the characters and how they fit in and the timelines.
I mean, why has it got to be as complex as Interstellar? Why? I mean, couldn't we just also say, well, I'll tell you what, it hasn't got anywhere near as many sharks as Jaws has.
Jaws isn't a sci-fi film.
No, but, I mean, well, okay, it hasn't got a single Wookiee in this. Not one.
We've already discussed Star Wars. It is a sci-fi film, but it's a sci-fi adventure.
It's almost as if you want every sci-fi film to be exactly the same.
No, because that wouldn't make you think. I want them all to be different, but intelligent with twists. But all of them to have different twists.
Have you seen John Carpenter's Dark Star?
Nope, don't think so.
It's a sci-fi film, nothing to think about.
Is it as slow as Moon?
Is it as slow as Moon? I guess not. I guess they're not. It's not as slow as Moon.
I think that's what I'm trying to get at here. Maybe it's not that all sci-fi films need twists. That's probably a broad statement that is incorrect. What I mean is sci-fi films that are as slow as Moon need something to grip my attention. This didn't have it.
Well, I mean, I really like the relationship between the two. I found that took me through the entire film. When they start off, they're not too into each other at all, and one of them's quite angry. And it's quite interesting how they get on, and especially with the fact that they are the same people, played by the same person, which puts an interesting technical stand on things.
I wouldn't know. I've never shot a conversation between myself and someone else, both played by me, where I'm having a conversation. I've never done that, so.
Yeah. One thing I do want to say, for a while I was very disappointed that a film with this title and nobody even showed their rear behind, but then they did.
The shower scene, yeah.
Yeah, so at least it lives up to its title.
Was that the highlight of the film for you?
No, I was a bit disappointed when we saw a bum because I had that joke ready and I was like, oh, I don't know why it's even called Moon. Nobody even shows their bum. And then he does show his bum, doesn't he? So it ruined it.
So earlier you brought up 2 points, the corporal greed and dickishness, and you also brought up something else. What was the other one?
Relationship between the two.
No, that was later. You first brought up the nature versus nurture. Which, again, everyone knows, don't they? It's just a combination of the two. Is there anything new here? You're born. That gives you some genes and some stuff. And then you live a life. And how you live your life and the encounters and the things that you do, that shapes who you are as a person. So you have this original, this is you, and these are the things that can affect you. So if you have different things affecting you, that will shape how you turn out. But you will have certain aspects of yourself from how you were born. It's a bit of both. Everyone says nature versus nurture. It's a bit of both.
But the big difference here, you talk about, each person like grows up. This guy has had, how old do you think he is? Let's say 40 years of growing up already. And then he's at a point where, he thinks he's lived that entire life. He's already got all of those memories, all of those experiences. And it's now in this situation where he's then changing or becoming a different person. Because obviously you've got one person who's been there for 3 years and one that thinks that he's just turned up there.
Would you say you're the same person now as you were a year or 2 years ago?
Probably not, but also I would say that I haven't been left on my own for 3 years on the moon.
How long were you there?
Oh, just half hour.
Right. Okay. Just enough to get some cheese and come home.
There's not much there. I mean, not even a McDonald's.
Did you just take a selfie and?
No, I forgot my phone.
Oh, okay.
That's why I had to come back. I was like, I forgot my phone. I better go back. And then I was like, I got to do that podcast. I haven't really got time to go back.
Fair enough. So if you did go to the moon for slightly longer than half an hour, say 3 years, do you feel that would shape you as a person? And do you think you would be a different person after 3 years?
Yes.
What did you think of Gertie then?
Gertie was my issue. This is my main issue with the film, and it is Gertie, and especially when it starts helping Sam.
I can't let you go outside, Sam. I'm not permitted to let you go outside.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, Sam.
Thank you.
Sam, there was no crash. You were being awakened. It is standard procedure for all new clones to be given tests to establish mental stability.
Password accepted.
I've recorded everything that has taken place since your awakening. If anyone were to check my memory cache, it would put you in considerable danger. You could erase my memory banks. I could reboot myself once you have departed. I want to help you. I want to help you. I want to help.
I mean, it's clear that Gertie is an AI and is learning all the time, and I think that's where the film is attempting to take you. It's probably had quite a few Sams already, so it's become attached to Sam, and I mean, its main purpose is to help him, so I suppose that's what the film wants you to take from it, that he's now almost on Sam's side over the corporation. I just feel like they would put a line of code in saying, you know, if Sam works out he's a clone, don't let him do that. Don't give him the passwords.
Shoot him in the face.
Yeah, give him the sad face.
I mean, we're of the understanding that Gertie is discovered sentience, and in order for it to make sense, we have to believe that the company don't know about his sentience.
How would they know? I guess they're getting some sort of readouts, or I mean, he talks about how everything's been recorded, but they've not seen it yet, and their communications with him are live, even though Sam didn't think they were. And I'm guessing Gertie is, you know, keeping up a face like everything's fine, you know, all going well. So they've got no need to check it at that particular point.
But, I mean, okay, so Gertie has figured out he's sentient, and he decides to help Sam. It just felt a bit... I mean, poor writing, would you say? The way that his sentience was discovered and expanded up. It wasn't expanded upon, was it? He just suddenly started breaking protocol, and we're just all supposed to go, oh, okay then.
Well, I guess it's a little tough because we're given such a small time frame over what could have been up to 15 years. But yeah, I wasn't sold on that. It's my main issue with the film.
I mean, I think I've mentioned the plot twist aspect or lack thereof, and a film this slow needing something to keep you engaged and keep you thinking. I also feel in a film this slow, if you're going to have two characters, or three characters if you count two clones, but could they not have cast Gertie a little bit better? Maybe someone with a little bit, just a tiny bit of charisma, just to keep you interested. Did you like him? I mean, other than his smiley faces things, that's the only real character he had.
I think that's absolutely fine for a robot. I wouldn't like some robot with, I don't know, like talking like Tom Green.
Not Tom Green. The note I made was that it would have been a much better film if they had Holly from Red Dwarf.
Which one?
The male one.
The male one with the famously monotone, droney voice, you mean?
Yes, but he's got humour, he's got good dialogue. He's great. I love Holly. And I did not love Gertie. And it's not just because Kevin Spacey is, well, Kevin Spacey. I've liked some of Kevin Spacey's films. I did not think he was good in this.
Well, he does what needs to be done, and I mean, it's not the sort of film where some wisecracking jokes would be working.
You don't need jokes, but you could have... I don't know. I didn't like him. He was very flat and just drab. And meh. And I feel if you are going to have, from a company perspective, if you are going to have this guy up there for 3 years and you want to make sure he doesn't go insane, you would try give him somewhat of a friend, wouldn't you?
If they were sending normal people up there, but they don't. I mean, the whole point is they don't care. These clones have got a set lifespan. Why would they don't care about that? Why bother?
I just feel they'd be more efficient at their jobs if they're kept happier.
Well, like you say, they don't actually have much to do. They're there as a fail-safe, a last resort of few minor things that they have to do. So I think, if anything, that goes in with companies cutting corners at every possible opportunity.
See, I brought up the what does he do stuff earlier a lot because I was trying to figure out whether or not they could. I mean, they've got robots that are quite intelligent. They're discovering sentience. Whether or not the company know about this sentience is one thing. I've said sentience in this podcast a lot. I don't even know if it's a real word.
I hope not. I hope you're just wrong the whole time.
So do I, to be honest. I'd love to make a new word. But these robots are quite advanced. Sam's job's not that advanced. Could they not just have a robot do his jobs?
I don't think so, because it's clearly not that advanced, because it's still got to be tethered to the ceiling and it's going along. I don't think they're probably at the point where they've got some one dual job robot that can go out and do that and have a conscious mind over certain things. They probably need some sort of lateral thinking.
Okay. So I'm going to take that. That's fine. But you're the company. You need a human to be on the moon. Well, you need a human to clone to put on the moon. Would you pick Sam?
Why not?
He's not the most stable person.
Seems perfectly stable to start with, and I doubt they care. I mean, as long as he gets through those 3 years, why isn't he stable?
I'm sure I like Sam. I love Sam Rockwell. Some of his films and some of his performances in films have been brilliant, and he is by far the best thing about this film. But he wasn't a good pick from a company perspective.
Why not?
Because he's
wanting to get the job done. I mean, even when he's sick, I mean, that's that particular clone's first few days on the job, but his mind is immediately on, no, I don't want to hang about being sick. I want to get on with my job.
Yeah, but as I say, he's not the most stable. It's Sam 2 that you're referring to, the one who wakes up and in the first few days he wants to do his job. It's him he kind of loses it quite quickly in the film. Once he discovers about the other clone, he goes a bit cray-cray.
Yeah, it's because Sam 1 has been on the moon by himself, and Sam 2 has just got to the moon in his head, and there's another him there. I don't think the company have got some sort of test for that. Like, oh, he seems pretty stable with all our tests, but what if he finds out he's a clone? How do we test that? You don't. So I don't think there's any issues with his stability.
Yeah, maybe. All right, I'll give you that one. So 50 minutes in, that's my next note. I mean, nothing really happens up until this point. Sam 1 asks if he is a clone, and Gertie just outright tells him that he is.
Sam, there was no crash. You were being awakened. It is standard procedure for all new clones to be given tests to establish mental stability and general physical health.
What about Tess? What about Eve?
They are memory implants, Sam. Uploaded, edited memories of the original Sam Bell.
I mean, it just felt odd why he would tell him I mean, what does he have to gain from this? What does he have to gain from giving him the passwords and things? He's not helping him, is he?
Well, yeah, of course he is. They're helping. He's helping with the plan to get Sam 2 back to Earth.
There wasn't a plan at this point, I don't think. The other clone hasn't been woken up or anything.
I'm pretty sure they'd already taken him into... No, you might be
I
right.
thought it was this conversation and finding out that he's definitely a clone that's like fuels him to make the plan.
Well, I guess so. I mean, that isn't how they find out they're clones, is it?
It's when he finds out for sure, because up until this point, they're both accusing each other of being a clone. They're like, you're a clone, no, you're a clone, you're a clone. And then he goes and talks to Gertie, and Gertie finally tells him that he is a clone, that they're both clones.
I mean, what else is Gertie going to say? Oh, you're just imagining it.
Quite simply, he could say what he said the other times. Either avoiding a question isn't a great way forward, but you could say, I'm not authorized to tell you. This is out of my... I don't have records of this. I only have records of what happens on the ship, which he says plenty of times. He could just keep repeating that.
But that would make the turn to him becoming, on their side even worse, if anything.
I just don't understand what, at this point, before Sam 2... No, Sam 1? No, it is Sam 2. Before Sam 2 even has a plan of how to get out and stuff, before he's woken up any more clones, what does Gertie have to motivate him to tell him that he's a clone?
Just the whole, like the conversation we had earlier about slowly coming onto Sam's side. I mean, that's all I've got. Like I say, that's the issue I have with the film, Gertie, and how he's helping so easily, but it's just in with the rest of that, I suppose.
My next note, 16 minutes later, we see the secret room of Sam's. And this is the first point in the film where I thought, oh, this could actually go somewhere. This is kind of interesting. Look how many they've got. And I started thinking to myself, oh, the possibilities are endless of what they could do here.
Jesus Christ, there's so many of them.
And then the final plan is a bit rubbish. What would you do, Gavin? You're on a ship, you're on the moon, you're working there, you discover you're a clone, there's another clone, you're hanging out, you're having a good time, playing some table tennis, and then you find this secret room of Gavin's. What would you do?
Oh, God, I don't know. Just hang out some more, play some more table tennis. I mean, what can he do? He can't, he's worked out that he could contact headquarters or whatever, base, central, that's what they call them. But surely they would just have him killed somehow. So getting back to Earth, he knows that this transporter's coming. And yeah, to take away all the fuel. So yeah, why not work out a way to get yourself back to Earth?
You know what I would do?
What do you do?
I would wake up every single one of those clones, and then I would find a way, like when the people come on the rescue mission, fight them, knock them out, take their ship, take as many clones as you can get on board back to Earth, find the company that made them, and kill them in their faces. Like, get some revenge. And
one, what if he can't actually fly the ship? Two, he needs Gertie to resurrect all of the clones, which, yeah, Gertie's on their side and resurrects one of them, and it seems to take a while. Like he said, when he's about to go back to Earth, he's like, I'll continue programming the human. And he says, he's a human, they're not programmed. So it's obviously a thing that takes a little while. So he couldn't just get all of them out. And there's only one room. They got that one room with the bed where supposedly they're woken up. What are they going to do them one at a time, every time? And also you're like, and go back to Earth and destroy them all, which is what he does. I mean, those little snippets at the end, he's back on Earth and he's taking them to court.
snippets at the end. Is this post credits or something? I didn't see this.
No, just before the credits, there's like, I think they're bits from like news. You just hear it whilst you see the Earth, I think, and it says.
Stocks have slipped a further 32% after accusations. Clone 6, the clone of Sam Bell, has been giving evidence at CEA's Board of Directors meeting in Seattle.
You know what? He's one of two things. He's a wacko or an illegal immigrant. Either way, they need to lock him up. Line 2.
Duncan Jones's other film, Mute, has got little bits of that because it's set in the same world. And I think there's a little bit about Sam in that, and he's taken the company to court. So basically, that is exactly what he does, what you said.
No, I said kill them in their faces. I didn't say take them to court. And your points about one room waking up one at a time and it taking a while, sure. I would then forget this first rescue mission, do what he does in the first rescue mission, but don't go back yet. Spend another year or something waking up all these Sams, and then create some kind of thing where they have to come back, and then do the plan. Once you've got your army of Trevors coming for you, mofo.
Fair enough. That sounds crap.
Shut your faces. Yeah. What? This is better. Oh, I've got a really great idea. We're going to make a science fiction film, which is supposed to be really clever, and it's going to be really slow. But what's going to forgive the fact for it being slow is the fact that we're going to have this brilliant end where basically one of the clones gets on a ship and goes back to Earth. Oh, okay. Is there any real hindrance to that plan? Like, what happens to make him stumble before he gets on the ship? No, he just gets on the ship and then he goes back to Earth. Nothing really. There's no. He has a plan. He does the plan. He goes to Earth. That's it.
It isn't as simple as doing the plan, is it? I mean, he's got his whole. Because he wanted to take back the other one as well.
This is another aspect, actually. What you bring up, you said he wanted to bring back the other one. He was originally intending for Sam 1 to go back, not him. He was going to stay, and Sam 1 was going to go back instead of him. And he seemed a bit menacing here. And I thought, oh, there's some kind of secret happening. He's doing this and saying, oh, you'll be fine. I'm going to put you on this ship and you're going to escape, whilst he had some kind of ulterior motive. And I thought there was going to be a twist. But no, he was just literally planning to put the other guy on the ship. And then the other guy goes, oh, I don't want to go. I'm ill and I'm going to die anyway. You go. And then oh, okay then. And then he goes. And then it's the end.
Well, if anything, with him being able to put Sam 1 back into the rover, it's keeping the company at bay, isn't it? It's making them think everything's still okay while he's off back at Earth, sorting out his legal campaign.
I understand why he's put Sam 1 back in the rover, and I understand why they're waking up another clone. It's just not complicated enough for me. They had a very basic, very simple plan, and they do it. There's no hindrance, there's no twist, there's no stumbling point. They just go, yeah, let's do this. Oh, okay then. And then they do it. I was expecting more. It's a slow film. It's a sci-fi film. It had a really good setting. Clones on the moon. They had that room full of Sams. So much potential. They had Sam fucking Rockwell, who's a brilliant actor. I just felt it was wasted. Wasted potential.
Fair enough.
I mean, we've discussed the whole film.
Should say about the score by Clint Mansell. It's a great score.
I didn't notice anything, I don't think. I will admit, this is the second time not the second time I've watched it. I've attempted to watch it before, and one of the rare films I've turned it off. I didn't carry on. I think I intended to go back to it, but it's just one of those situations where I didn't blame the film. I was not in the right mood to watch a film. I think I was tired or something, so I was not really into this. I'm going to turn it off and watch it another day. And then I never went back to it. Rewatching it, and I was going in with a much more, right, let's watch this. It's got some great reviews. Warren's messaged me saying, "Oh, I forgot how great this film is." So, you know, it might be good. Maybe it's just a bit of a slow start and it gets there. And so I went in with that kind of mentality, hoping for something more, and it just never came.
There we go.
Indeed. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, I think I'm ready for my final verdict.
Well, before we do a final verdict, there's a man in my shed who wants to have some words with us. He's a man some call Keir Mills. Have you heard of him?
Yeah, so, he was on the bill.
He was. And he is also on the Cool Kids Film Club podcast every week. So come back. We watch better films than Moon most of the time. So, Keir's in my shed. He's out there. He's a prisoner. He has no rights. And he has to make us this video. So, give a cheer for Keir.
Ooh, yeah. Woo.
That might be the first time I've actually liked your initial cheer. To Keir.
Moon. This Sam Rockwell-driven sci-fi adventure is eerie in its emptiness, and it is this feeling of desolation that really makes this movie work, and it is also one of the reasons why I find myself not wishing to embark on repeat viewings. Don't get me wrong, this is a rather excellent film. Its production design is brilliant, its cinematography is spot on, the score is wonderfully atmospheric, and Sam Rockwell's performance is magnificent. Really, this is the movie that he should have at least been considered for an Academy Award. And whilst, yes, he was very good in 3 Billboards, I believe that performance could have easily been just as good in the hands of, say, Michael Shannon or Barry Pepper. Kind of seems like it was the role that was awarded, not the performance. And let's face it, the Academy is far too old, too white, and too male to not award an Oscar for the character of a racist on a journey of redemption. You know what I mean? Too often they do that, and really that's why guessing the winners can be so much fun. Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant getting an award for being cold, because he was cold. Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man getting an Oscar for maintaining the same interpretation of autism for 120 minutes. Laura Dern in Marriage Story for being forthright. Pacino for shouting in Scent of a Woman, but being blind whilst doing it. The list goes on. However, in Moon, it is difficult to imagine any other actor in this role. Sam Rockwell has that certain quirk and jitter to his performances that works so well here. As both a character on the mental edge and also the fresh, strong, stoic version of himself, Rockwell is brilliant. The fact that I believe that this movie should appear on many more top 50 sci-fi movies than it does is largely due to his performance. It certainly helps Moon become one of the most impressive modern sci-fi flicks. It is smarter than Gravity for sure, and it is a much more interesting watch than, say, The Martian. Of course, the movie will immediately draw comparisons with 2001: A Space Odyssey, and that's fair. Many of the shots could have been taken straight out of the Kubrick handbook, but here it seems that it is using it as an inspiration rather than trying to imitate it, and that is rather refreshing. Then, of course, you've also got Gertie, the Hal of the movie, voiced here by Kevin Spacey. And possibly due to recent events, this sounds infinitely creepier than I remember it seeming in 2009. I mean, I've seen this movie before. I knew exactly what was going to happen, and yet I did not trust Gertie, which in fairness does add a new element to the movie, but whatever. Fuck you, Kevin. During this viewing, however, I did spot something new. Completely by accident, I sat on the remote and managed to turn the subtitles on at apparently the perfect moment. When the character of Sam Bell contacts his daughter and she calls out to her father off screen, the voice that responds is identified in the subtitles as Original Sam. The previous times that I watched this movie, I had always presumed that his wife had just remarried, and that maybe the girl hadn't met her real father, and that Original Sam had died in space. Not so. The real Sam, the Original Sam, is happily going about his life on Earth. Well, not happily, he has lost his wife. So, taking that into account, if the real Sam did return to Earth, the whole movie's emotional punch hangs on whether you can empathise with a clone. Whether you believe that a genetically created being implanted with emotion and memory, designed to live for only 3 years, is something that you can sympathise with. And well, I mean, I choke up over Bishop in Aliens and Arnie in Terminator 2. So for me, yep, I can. If you have built something to have human emotion, to be sentient, to recall memories, to feel loss and grief, well then, you, my friend, have built yourself a human. You have built something that can sympathise, and so therefore I can find myself sympathising with it. It's a two-way road. And speaking of that whole 3-year existence thing, Sam Bell left Earth just before his daughter was born. And now, when we meet her, she is 15. 3s into 15 go 5 times, so that means that we are on the 5th version of Sam. Take away the original, and that means that there have been 4 clones. We're on the 4th, so there have only been 3 previously. 3 clones, and the clones have already figured it all out. Now, that's not really a stunning return for what the company must have thought was a foolproof plan. Considering how many Sams they have in stasis, apparently enough to last for 500 years, to be rumbled so early on does not really indicate overwhelming success. Imagine if 1 in 4 of the rest of them work it out as well. And I don't see why they wouldn't. That's like 125 in 500. That's 125 clones heading back to Earth. I think that might kick up one hell of a stink. And by the way, if my maths is off there, that's one of the reasons that I'm not an astronaut. Another is now my fear of being cloned. And also, of being stuck in a room with Kevin Spacey. Ugh. Laters.
So, having just rewatched Keir's bit, I've noticed a few things that I should maybe point out. I watched Keir's video as soon as he sent it to me, and I've clearly just ripped some of his stuff off, purely accidental. But I mentioned earlier that I watched something on YouTube about the original Sam aspect. I knew I'd seen it somewhere else. I credited YouTube. It wasn't YouTube, it was Keir. And also the fact of Sam's daughter being 15 and about the amount of Sams and stuff. I just thought that was coming to me in the moment, to be honest.
That's why I only watch Keir's bits as they happen.
Yeah, I mean, I agreed with a lot of what he's saying. The repeat viewings, I won't be watching this again. Sam Rockwell, brilliant. The Oscars is another thing I wanted to bring up. It's happening on the 26th of April, which is roughly 3 weeks. So that week we shall not be doing a random film pick. We'll pick something from the Oscars. I don't know what yet. We'll have to have a little chit chat, figure it out. Me, you, and Keir, and decide what we want to do. Do you want to bring up anything else that Keir said?
No, not really. He seems like he's, I was going to say in the middle of both of us, but I think he's more on my side. That it's a good film rather than on yours.
Yeah, I think he liked it. I don't think he'd watch it again. Well, he clearly states that he doesn't want to watch it again, so...
Don't think I would, and I probably felt that at the time when I first saw it.
Well, let's get into it, Gavin. What were your final thoughts?
So, yeah, rewatching it, I don't remember what my initial thoughts on it. I know I gave it a 7 originally. I can say that much. But it looks absolutely fantastic. I love the use of miniatures over CGI. All of the stuff outside is great. Some of the best looking sci-fi stuff has kind of got a realistic edge to it. You know, there's no spaceships flying about. Well, there is a little bit, tiny bit, but it's mostly farming, kind of a realistic idea of what might happen on the moon in the future. I love the score. Clint Mansell always puts in a good bit of music. Sam Rockwell is fantastic. And unlike you, I was engaged the entire time. I love the relationship between Sam and Sam. Kind of becomes not a buddy comedy, just like a buddy film, but with the same person. Kind of cool. I like that. Gertie is my issue. I get what they're going with the AI, and he's learning and maybe sympathising with Sam, who he's now known for possibly 15 years. But I just feel like a company would put some sort of fail-safe in where he's not going to give out a password and not going to offer up erasing himself to help out. That's probably my only issue. But yep, those are my thoughts, and I am giving it, after originally giving it a 7 out of 10, I felt so engaged and so into it this time, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10.
What the fuck? When you said you gave it a 7 last time, I thought, well, I bet you feel silly. And now you're giving it fucking 8. Jesus. Right. Well, if my comments, suggestions, and general attitude throughout this podcast hasn't given it away, I'm not going to be as kind as you. I didn't love it. The basic premise, clones on the moon. Yeah, that sounds interesting. I like the idea of that. Let's see what they're going to do. Oh, I'll learn nothing. Literally, that is the whole plot twist. Clones on the moon. And that's the whole selling point. And they don't do enough with it. It's not that interesting. I liked Sam Rockwell playing Sam. I liked him. His performance was good. But didn't like Gertie. Didn't like the general story. The end was anticlimactic. Anticlimactic?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not a film I'll be watching again, optionally. Didn't love it. Didn't even really like it. 4 out of 10 for me. Which I've seen some reviews online, and none of them are that low. So you'll be watching this, whoever you are. You, right now, you're watching this, you're mad at me. You think I'm an idiot. You're the idiot, sir. Moon sucked. It didn't suck. It was fine. It was just not something I liked. I didn't enjoy it, and I wouldn't watch it again.
Just to let anybody know, in any case, for any subject ever, Trevor is always the idiot.
That is probably true. So, you gave it a what? An 8. You goose. You goose, you. So, 8 halved is 4, 4 halved is 2, 6 out of 10 total. So, somehow, even though I gave it a 4 out of 10, it's still not significantly the worst film we've watched. It is joint last with The Believer. Would have been lower, in my opinion. You've saved it, Gavin.
Well, it deserves saving, because it is not a terrible film at all.
It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good, was it? One last thing left to do is to pick next week's film. We have 29 entries. Do you want to pick a number?
I pick number 4 again.
Okay. Well, I bet you feel silly. It is 10.
Oh.
10, Gavin. Which, let me double check. I think I know whose film that is. That is someone called Gavin Rye. His film of Night of the Creeps. Do you know anything about Gavin Rye?
Yeah, he's me.
Is he? Hi, Gavin.
Hello. Night of the Creeps. What a good film. I got it right here. Look at that. Night of the Creeps. It's good. Good fun. Good bit of a lark.
It's definitely what we need after Moon.
It's another one. I haven't seen it in a very long while, actually.
Well, you will do soon. And that's me done. I'm done. Are you done?
Yeah, done.
Cool. Come back next week. We'll try and watch a film better than Moon. Bye.
Goodbye.
This is the Cool Kids Film Club Podcast. Watch films with us.